Hey you guys, I'm making this video because California will be destroyed in about 2 months. I want you to come back and know that everything I said here was 100% true. Right now I'm being bombarded with a lot of negative energy, a lot of anxious, nervous, also adrenaline energy. So I'm going to read straight from the paper. First, I'd like to begin with science. Science shows we are overdue on a pole shift. Last time this happened was when the Earth made a full revolution around the black hole. This was 26,000 years ago. Back then we had a pole shift. Then we had one at 13,000 years ago. This is during the time of Noah and Atlantis. Scientifically speaking, we are overdue for a pole shift. The trumpet being blown is symbolic of a new Earth being made. So that means the poles will shift and we will have a new Earth. And everyone being called from heaven and earth for the final judgment. Just like during Noah's time, after the pole shift happened, people were cast into hell. The same thing will happen now, except this will be, when California is destroyed, everyone here will go to hell. But then the final judgment is coming very soon. And here's the evidence I collected after God revealed it to me. Jesus was resurrected during a blood moon tetrad. This is 4 red blood moon eclipses on 4 Jewish holidays. We have the same exact moons on the same exact days as the time when Jesus was resurrected. The red moon eclipses he was resurrected on were Passover and Tabernacles. We have the same tetrad right now, meaning the same red blood moons are the same ones that Jesus was resurrected on the same exact days. So not only are the same exact moons, they're the same exact days that Jesus was resurrected. In the past 500 years, we have had 3 red blood moon eclipses. In 1492, America was discovered and Israel was exiled. In 1948, Israel returned to Israel. And in 1968, the holiest place on earth, the place where God lived, the Temple of Solomon, was captured. This is also the place where Muhammad ascended. We are currently in another tetrad, 4 red blood moon eclipses on Jewish holidays. This tetrad is the same moons on the same days as Jesus was resurrected. The last 3 and 500 years were the most prophetic and historical moments in history. This current tetrad began with a comet called Ison on Thanksgiving. It is known to represent the Son, Jesus Christ. This tetrad also began with an alignment of Mars, Earth, and the Sun. In Genesis, God said he would create the heavens and leave signs. In the heavens, comets represent powers, and the alignment of Mars, Earth, and the Sun, Mars represents strength. Our current tetrad is going to be much more powerful and stronger than the last 3. As I stated, those last 3 were some of the most prophetic and historical moments in all of history. And this current tetrad, because of Comet Ison, this is when Jesus returns. Satan tormented me for several days and nights. I prayed to God to bring judgment on him and all of his jinn. He tormented me when I tried to sleep. He tormented me when I was awake. I warned him. I said, stop sinning before something worse happens to you. And God told me the day of judgment is during an eclipse, during this exact tetrad, on the Feast of Trumpets. The Feast of Trumpets is a Jewish holiday that God set up several thousand years ago. The entire festival is about judgment. The Jews, they blow the horn, and this is symbolic of calling everyone out of heaven and earth to appear before the judgment seat of God. I started doing this research because God showed me this day. Apparently God didn't only make me this promise. He promised the ancient rabbis, saying that someday the sons of Isaac will transgress my will, and I will judge them on Rosh Hashanah. And Rosh Hashanah is the Feast of Trumpets. So he promised the ancient rabbis of old that on this exact day he would judge the world. And he also created a entire feast day regarding this day. According to tradition, Adam fell in Eden and was judged on Rosh Hashanah. And according to tradition, this is when God will judge again. And as you know, God is the truth. God is always true to what he says in his promises. Here I quoted a quote from Jesus, John, and Peter, and even the Archangel Gabriel. In Matthew 24:29, Jesus said, immediately after the distress of those days, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light. The stars will fall from the sky, and the heavenly bodies will be shaken. Then will appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then all the peoples of the earth will mourn when they see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. In Acts 2:20, Peter said, the sun will be turned to darkness, and the moon to blood before the coming of the great and glorious day of the Lord. And in Revelation 6:12, John the Beloved said, I watched as he opened the sixth seal. This was a great earthquake. The sun turned black with sackcloth and made of goat hair. The whole moon turned blood red. And in the chapter called the Resurrection, Gabriel said, he asked when is the day of resurrection. So when vision is dazzled and the moon darkens, and the sun and moon are joined, man will say on that day, where is the place of escape? No, there is no refuge. To your Lord that day is a place of permanence. Once again, the resurrection is on the Feast of Trumpets during an eclipse. I gave you evidence showing that this tetrad that we have 4 red-blood moons, every time this happens, something very historical and prophetic happens. I showed you that in the past 500 years, the Jews leaving, being exiled, Jews returning, and the holiest place on earth being captured happened during a tetrad. And this current tetrad began with Comet Isun, and that represents Jesus Christ. This is the tetrad that's the same moons and same days as the time when Jesus was resurrected. And this is the same time when Jesus returns. I made this video once again because California will be destroyed very soon. I want you to acknowledge that September 13th, 2015 is the time when Judgment Day happens and Jesus returns. And I want you to have faith in God, and I want you to have knowledge and wisdom. And I gave you guys clear evidence. Just have faith in God and do the best you can for Him.